Hello students. Today we're going to do a story from the novel The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. Now I am the narrator. Okay? I am Dr. Watson and my friend is Sherlock Holmes. He is a detective. Now we start with the first chapter story, The Red-Headed League. One afternoon last year, I called on my friend Sherlock Holmes. I called him, "Hello Sherlock Holmes, come over. I'm coming to your place." When I reached his place, I saw him. He was talking to a very stout, short, bit bulky, elderly gentleman with fiery eyes, fiery red hair. His hair was red. On seeing me, Sherlock Holmes, insisted, he asked him that I listen to what this gentleman had to say, what he had to tell him and me. So, Sherlock Holmes told that person, "Perhaps, Mr. Wilson, you will have the kindness to repeat your story. Please repeat what you told me again. Repeat your story, not only because Dr. Watson, that's my friend, has not heard the opening part, the beginning story, but also because the facts, whatever facts of your case are quite unique. It's different. It's not the common type." I looked at Holmes' client, that man. I looked at him. Now, description about him. He seemed an average British tradesman, a person who does business. Fat, pompous. Pompous means self-important. Okay? He is a great personality, like that. And slow, not fast. Holmes interrupted my thoughts, saying, I was just looking at him, and Holmes interrupted by saying, "Beyond the obvious facts, whatever we know, that Mr. Wilson," this person, his name is Mr. Wilson, "has at some time done manual labor." So what did Sherlock Holmes come to know about that person? First, he had done manual labor, person who works by hand or legs, doing some work, manual labor. Number two, takes snuff. Snuff is like a brown color powder. You take it, inhale it. Number three, has been to China. How he came to know, that we'll come to know later. And has done, number four, a considerable amount, a lot of writing. That he knows that he's done a lot of writing lately, recently. I can deduce means understand or bring out, nothing else. Only these four things I can bring out or explain. Mr. Wilson, that man, he started up, he got surprised in his chair, and he said, "How on earth did you know all that, Mr. Holmes?" Then Sherlock Holmes explained by saying, "Your right hand, my dear sir, is much larger than your left hand. Okay? You have worked with it with your right hand, and the muscles are more developed, broader. That's why I said you have done a lot of manual labor." Okay? I won't insult your intelligence. I won't insult you by telling you how I noticed that. Next, that the fish tattooed, there's a mark, fish tattoo, tattoo is what? It's a design. Okay, you get designs on your shoulders or on your arms or on your palm. So many places, you can have it anywhere. It's a design. The fish tattooed on your wrist, this portion on your wrist, could have been done only in China. That means you went to China. That's why I said you went to China. Then that man asked, but the writing? How do you know? But the writing, how do you know? I do a lot of writing recently or lately. What else can be indicated by the very shiny cuff and the smooth patch here? The smooth patch near the elbow. So you keep this elbow on the stool or on the table on which you're writing. The shiny cuff and the smooth patch near the elbow where you rest it on the desk. And that shows, this patch mark shows you're doing a lot of writing. Mr. Wilson laughed heavily. Well, I never thought. I thought that first that you had done something clever. I thought you were intelligent, something clever. But I see that there was nothing in it after all. You have used your brains and you have got the facts very clear. Then he took out a newspaper and pointed a thick red finger halfway down the advertisement column. On the newspaper, there's a column called advertisement column. Here it is, the advertisement. Read it yourself, sir. I took it from him and I saw the newspaper was about 2 months old. Not recently, 2 months old. The advertisement read as follows. Now this was what was written on the advertisement. Heading, to the red-headed league. That means people who have red hair on the head. Okay. A vacancy is open. There's a vacancy. Anybody who is red-headed can apply. A vacancy is open which entitles a member, which allows a member of the league, anybody who is red-headed, to a salary. You'll get a salary of £4 a week. How many? £4. Okay, like we have in India, we have rupees and paise. Over there, they have pounds. Some countries they have dollars. Okay, so £4 a week, £4. All red-headed men, all people who have red hair, sound in body, perfectly fine, physically fit, everything, and mind, not insane, not mad people, and above the age of 21 years, adult, above the age of 21 years, are eligible, are allowed to apply for the post. Apply in person. You have to come in person. No writing letters. Come in person at 11 o'clock to Duncan Ross. Duncan Ross is the name of the place. At the offices of the league. The office is the league office. 7 Pope's Court, Fleet Street. So this was what was written on the advertisement column in the newspaper. Now I asked him, what on earth does this mean? This advertisement? I exclaimed after I had read this extraordinary announcement twice over to try to understand what does it mean. Now my friend, Sherlock Holmes, Detective Sherlock Holmes, he chuckled. And he said, it is a little off the beaten track. Means it's not on the main track, it's off the track. It's like beating around the bush and coming to the main point. Isn't it? Said he. Then that person, Mr. Wilson, he said, please make a note of the paper and the date, doctor. And now, Mr. Wilson, tell us all about yourself. Sherlock Holmes is asking him, your household, what you're doing at home, your business, and the result of this advertisement. Why you brought this advertisement here and why are you showing it to us? The effect the advertisement had on your fortunes, had on your business. Why did you come here with that paper or the ad? Now, Mr. Wilson, the businessman, he started speaking. I have a small pawnbroker's business. I have a small pawnbroker. Now, what is a pawnbroker? A pawnbroker is one who lends. Okay, like borrow, lends. Who lends money at interest. He takes money at interest on the security. You have to give something. That is called security. Like if you want to buy something and you need money, so you have to mortgage or pawn. So it's a pawnbroker. So I give money at interest, security of an article. You have to give something. So that means in case you don't return the money, then I can take the article. Okay, that's called pawnbroker's business. So I have a small pawnbroker's business, Mr. Holmes, in Coburg. That's the name of the place. Coburg Square, near the city. It has not been doing too well of late. Recently, my business not going fine. And I can afford to keep only one assistant. I don't have so much money or such good business that I cannot keep more than one assistant. I can keep only one assistant, and that too because that assistant is willing, he is willing to work for half the wages, half the salary. Like supposing if the salary is £400 a month, I have to give him only £200, half the salary. This fellow was interested, that person who was working. So he said, yes, I'll work for you for half the salary. I don't know why, but he said yes. So as to learn the business. So that person who wanted to work, he wanted to learn the business also. And so he was willing to take half the salary. His name, that person, his name is Vincent Spaulding. And he is a smart one, very smart guy, nice person. I know that he could easily earn twice because he's so intelligent. What? Half the salary. He can earn double the salary what I give him. I know it. But he said, yes, I'm willing to work for you for half the salary. Then my friend said, that is Dr. Watson, he continued by saying, what an obliging person, very nice person, huh? To be sure. Then Mr. Wilson continued by saying, yeah, and he's a great one for photography. He's very good in taking photographs, snapping away, taking photographs with a camera, and then diving down, going down into the cellar. Cellar is a room. Into the cellar to develop his pictures, to make it negative to positive photographs. It was he only. One day he showed me this advertisement, and he convinced me, he made me believe that I stood a very good chance of earning a few £100. He told me, sir, you can earn £100, few £100 if you want. And he showed me this advertisement. Anyway, we shut up the shop, closed it, and then we went to the address given in the newspaper, it was written, so we went over there. What a sight it was! What a sight! So many people, all red-headed. What a sight it was, sir! Fleet Street was choked, filled with red-headed men of every shade, dark persons, fair persons, blonde person, and all red, different shade of red head. I could have given up. If I was there alone, I would have said, no, I won't get a job. Sure, I'm going to go away. I would have given up. There and there. But somehow, Spaulding, that man, my assistant, he pushed me and pulled me. Hey, psych. And he pushed me and pulled me through. And through the crowd, and somehow we found ourselves in front of the office. I was just in front of him. That man. One man was there. His name was Mr. Duncan Ross. And his hair was even redder than mine. And he was sitting on a table. Then my assistant, Vincent Spaulding, he said, "Sir, this is Mr. Jabez Wilson. Mr. Jabez Wilson. And he is willing to fill in the vacancy in the league. He is willing to work in the league." Now that man, who's that man? Mr. Duncan Ross. He looked at me. Yes. He has an admirable head of hair. He's got hair. Admirable, commendable, good, lots of hair. And then, you know what he did? He seized it. He tugged it. Pulled it till I yelled, screamed, paining, with pain. Then that man said, "And genuine, real, too." Then he said, "I'm glad to inform you that you have every requirement, all what is necessary for the post. You are fit." And then he opened the window where all the people were there. Everybody was there from the window, and he shouted loudly, "Hey, vacancy is filled. Finish. No vacancy." Damn. He closed the window. And he could hear a groan of disappointment, sound of cry. Oh no, gone away. Somebody got the job. And everybody went away. I could hear the groan, the sound of disappointment from below, and the folks, all the people, all trooped away, all went away. Now, I was explained by that man, Mr. Duncan. He told me my job, what I have to do. So he said, the hours of work, your working time, were to be from 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock. 4 hours. I hesitated. My shop, how will I be there and be here? How can I be two places same time? Because I have also a business. So I was wondering about that. Then my assistant, Vincent Spaulding, he said, "Oh, sir, never mind, Mr. Wilson. I shall be able to look after that. You don't worry, I'll take care of the shop. You don't worry." So I shook my head. Then that would suit me very well. Okay, done, I'll work. And the pay and the salary, how much I'll get? Your salary is £4 a week. 4 pounds. Wow, lovely. Now, my full job details, what I have to do. See, first of all, 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock. Second, now let's see what I have to do. I would have to be in the office the whole time from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock. and would forfeit. Forfeit means lose the job forever. If I left it, if I came out from the office even for a minute, gone. Zero. No money. No matter what excuse, even if I say I went to the... that won't do. You do it inside the office, not outside. Yes. So no excuse. Now what was my work? The work was to copy out the encyclopedia. Encyclopedia is a book which has a lot of information. So copy the Encyclopedia Britannica. That's the name of the book. Thick book. Copy. And I was to begin the very next day. So no time to think. Tomorrow you start working. I was happy. I could scarcely believe. I could hardly believe my good fortune. So the next day, put on proper uniform. I reached the office next morning with a bottle of ink, a quill pen to write, and paper. Mr. Ross, Duncan Ross, the owner, was there to start me off, to see, yes, okay, come on, sit down, yes, start your work. No. He dropped in from time to time. He would come in to see whether I'm there, and he saw, okay. He would come, drop in from time to time, and locked up the office at 2 o'clock, when I also left. And so this work went on regularly. Every week I was paid, and everything was going fine. By degrees means in the course of time. Might be after 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, a month. Mr. Ross took to coming in less and less after a time. He would not come very often, less time. After might be 2 hours or 3 hours, then might be after a day or 2 days. So he would come not very often. And then it went more, less and less of time. Of course, I never dared to leave the room. No. Supposing he comes, then finished. I lose my job. I never dared to leave the room for an instant, even not for a minute. 8 weeks passed, approximately 2 months. And then suddenly, the whole business, this business where I was working, came to an end. Finished. What happened? I'm telling you. This morning, it happened. That was this morning. So, I reached the office, as usual, at 10 o'clock. I saw it was locked. And there was a signboard. It was pinned on the door, a sign. You know what was written? There was a cardboard piece. Say, this is the cardboard piece. The Red-Headed League is dissolved, is closed, finished. October 9th, 1890. When I heard this, who am I? Sherlock Holmes. And my friend, Dr. Watson. Holmes and I looked at the curt announcement, at what this person had to say. And the disappointed face, that man. So, stop. Business. Stop. So I don't know what to do. That's why I came to you. The face of that man was disappointed and burst into a roar of laughter. Who was laughing? Not that man. Sherlock Holmes. And that man looked at Sherlock Holmes and said, "Hey, if you can do nothing better than laugh at me, then I can go elsewhere. I came to you for help. If you can't help me, then don't laugh at me." His face was growing red with anger, laughing at me. Then Holmes said, "No. I would not miss your case for the world. Even if I get the whole world, I will not miss your case. Your case is beautiful. I like it. It's different. I'll take it. What did you do then, sir? After that, when I saw the notice, I called at the offices. I called other people, but none knew about it. I asked, excuse me sir, why this is closed? Any idea? No. Why? No. Even the landlord of that building, he too had never heard of this red-headed league or Mr. Ross. He said, I don't know who is Mr. Ross or red-headed league. He said that room he had given it on rent, the office, to a red-haired solicitor. One person. He had red hair. Solicitor is a person who works in a law firm. You can say a lawyer, an advocate. Okay? And that solicitor's name was William Morris. The landlord said, told me, okay, that I gave the room, the office, to a gentleman who was a solicitor, and his name was William Morris. And who moved out? That person has gone away just day before yesterday. It all happened. Very odd. That Morris went out day before yesterday. Today I came, I saw shop closed, signboard, red-headed league dissolved, and so I came right to you, Sherlock Holmes. I thought you are the best. You'll help me out. Okay. Sherlock Holmes asked, tell me a little about this assistant. Your assistant, no? Tell me a little bit more about your assistant, Mr. Vincent Spaulding. Tell me about him. Mr. Wilson, tell me about him. Then Mr. Wilson, he said, he has been with me for a month now. 1 month past, he was with me. He's a smart chap, I told you. Very smart. Small and stout, and has a splash mark of acid mark on his forehead. Over here, there's a mark. Not on his face, on his forehead. Nice. Holmes sat up in his chair in excitement. I thought as much. I felt this fellow you told me about, Mr. Vincent Spaulding. I thought as much. And one more thing. Are his ears pierced? Does he have a hole for earrings? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How do you know? Thank you. Thank you, sir. Today is Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday. By Monday, I hope to come to a conclusion. I'll come to the conclusion about the matter. I'll explain it to you, everything. Bye. You can go. And Holmes said this thing, and the visitor, who's the visitor? Mr. Wilson went out. After that, Holmes refused to discuss the case any further. He did not speak anything about the case. In the afternoon, we went. Now remember, who are we? I am Dr. Watson, and Holmes, Sherlock Holmes. We went to Saxe-Coburg Square. We went to that place, Saxe-Coburg Square, where our client, our customer, who is the customer? Mr. Wilson, where our client had his shop on the corner of Saxe-Coburg Square. Holmes walked up, down the shabby street. The street was very shabby, dirty, paper here, rubbish there, garbage here, a shabby street. And then thumped, hit vigorously, hard on the pavement, on the footpath, in front of the shop with his stick. He had a stick, walking stick. With that stick, he hit the pavement in front of the shop. Then he knocked at the door. One person came out from the window, opened. A clean-shaven young man opened it for some directions. He asked him. He said something. After that, Sherlock Holmes told me, I'm Dr. Watson. This man, whom we just now saw, he's the fourth smartest man in London. I know him. He's the fourth smartest man in London today. The fourth smartest man. And after saying this, Sherlock Holmes and myself, we walked away. We went away. And he continued by saying, and very daring, this man is very daring, courageous. Actually, I knocked so that I could see him properly. I wanted to see the knees of his trousers, his pant, trousers. I wanted to see his knees. So when I was talking to him, I was looking at his knees. Dr. Watson said, I don't understand it. Neither you just said you wanted to see his knees. And then why did you beat that? Why did you beat the pavement? Then Sherlock Holmes said, my dear Watson, it is a time for observation. You have to observe, not talk. Come, let us explore. Let us now see the whole place. Explore the street behind us. Let's see from far this location, this whole place. Now, describe the street. It was a busy commercial area. It was a business center. Many people come, go, buy, sell. Commercial area with a line of fine shops, many shops. Holmes began to read the names, one by one, the shop names. Names of the establishments, name of the shops. Starting from the corner to the end of the block. To the first one. So remember the names of the shops. Mortimer's, the tobacconist who sells tobacco. The little newspaper shop. The Coburg branch of the City and Suburban Bank. The vegetarian restaurant. And McFarlane's carriage building depot. So 5 establishments, 5 companies, shops. Now, Mortimer's, the first one, remember that, okay? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, you've got all. He then turned to me and said, who turned? Sherlock Holmes. I'm afraid, Watson, a very serious crime is being plotted. A very serious crime is going to take place. I hope we are in time to stop it. Please come to my room today at Baker Street by 10 o'clock. Don't be late. By 10 o'clock, and bring your army revolver gun. If you please, we might require it for action. I am Dr. Watson. I confess, I could make nothing. I couldn't understand anything of the whole business. It was confusing me. But I had unfailing confidence. Unfailing means without fail, no doubt, confidence. 100% sure. In Holmes, Sherlock Holmes' capabilities. He was capable, he was fit, he was fantastic. When I reached Baker Street that night, two hansoms, they are like policemen. Two hansoms were standing at the door. Of one of them, out of that, one I recognized as Peter Jones, the first one person. He was the official police agent. And the other one was a tall, sad-faced man. Very sad. His name was Mr. Merryweather. Okay? He was that second person. He was not a policeman. Remember that. Now, Sherlock Holmes told that man, Mr. Merryweather, "Tonight, sir, you will be playing a game. You will be playing a game, a risk, with some 30,000 pounds. 30,000 pounds at stake. At stake means either you'll get it back or you lose it. It's a big gamble. It's a gamble like a stake. And for Mr. Jones, the police agent, the reward will be John Clay. The reward, if you want to catch him, the person whom we are looking out for is John Clay. And you know who's John Clay? He is the master criminal and cunning rogue, cunning rascal. You have to catch him. Anyhow, what's the time now? 10 o'clock. We set off. We went to the same street which Coburg Square, there. We had visited in the morning. On alighting, when we got down, we followed Mr. Merryweather inside the door, down a narrow passage. We went inside the door, one narrow passage, through a massive, huge, big, enormous iron gate. And finally, into a huge cellar, into a big room. Piled, filled up, one on top of the other, with large boxes and crates. Crates, like you put crates, you have a crate of bottles of milk, or like that. So crates, they were crates. So in that room, there were crates and large boxes. Mr. Merryweather tapped on the floor with his stick to point out how secure, how strong the cellar was, and was very gently surprised when it sounded hollow, not strong, hollow. Holmes rebuked him, insulted him sharply for being noisy. Hey! Don't make a noise. Shh. And began to examine the floor himself. In the lantern light, he had a lantern light, with a magnifying glass, with a glass which you can see small things, big. He was watching. He seemed to be quite satisfied with his inspection. He saw and he was, understood. And explained softly to me that we were in the cellar, this room. This room is a cellar of the city branch of one of the largest London banks. All this everywhere you see is money. I told you, the stake. How much? 30,000. Okay? So we saw there was the cellar with a lot of money. And he said, this is one of London's bank's branch, of which Mr. Merryweather, that man who was looking sad, was the chairman of directors. He was the chairman of all the directors. The cellar contained in the cell 30,000 Napoleons of French gold. Lots and lots of money. It contained 30,000 Napoleons of French gold. It was this that had attracted, because of money, that attracted the attention of that master criminal. What's his name? John Clay and his gang. The lantern was put out, and Holmes directed us to conceal, hide ourselves behind the piles of crates. So we were hiding. Then he warned us, told us, hey, be careful. They are daring men, dangerous. When I flash a light on them, close in swiftly, jump on them swiftly, and if they fire, do not hesitate to shoot back. Watson, you have your army revolver. There is only one way of retreat, that is escape, open to them. If they want to run away, there's only one way, that side. There's only one way, and that is back to the pawnbroker's shop. Understand? So from here, there is a passage, a tunnel to the pawnbroker's shop. Whose shop? Mr. Wilson's shop. So from Mr. Wilson's shop, there's a connection, a tunnel to this room. Okay? I hope you have done as I advised you, Jones. You know what to do. Be alert, get ready. Now for action. I have an inspector also and 2 officers waiting at the front door, sir, said Mr. Jones outside. We have 1 inspector and 2 officers. So if they try to run away, they'll catch him. That's all then. Gentlemen, now we must be silent and wait for them. Wait. Time was passing. What a time it seemed, although from comparing notes later, it was only an hour and a quarter, 1 hour, 15 minutes. My limbs, my legs grew stiff standing, sitting for long, and weary and tired as we sat afraid to change our position. We can't change. Sit in one position means sit in one position. Our nerves, full body paining, worked up to the highest pitch of tension, feeling tensed. Suddenly, I caught a glint. I saw a light under the flags on the floor. Oh my God! On the floor, one of the broad stones, big slabs. One of the broad stones was pushed over. And a young man, a young man with a clean cut, boyish face, climbed up. He came from underneath one of the slabs, from the gap, and then lifted a small thin red-haired companion after him. So 2 persons, that boy, clean cut, and a red-headed companion. Then he said, it's all clear, it's fine. And then Sherlock Holmes sprang out and seized him, caught him. Jump, Archie! He called as his friend dived down the hole. That man who was inside the hole, jump, run! With Jones trying to clutch him. Jones tried to catch him, but that person could not run away. That red-headed man. And he said, it's no use, John Clay. No use, you can't run away, said Holmes. You have no chance at all. And as for your friend who ran away from down, there are 3 men. There are 3 men waiting for him at the door. You know, 1 inspector, 1 policeman, and 2 other persons. Then Sherlock Holmes told him, "Indeed, I must compliment you. Wah, wah, fantastic. On your thoroughness, you're very thorough," said Clay. Now this is not spoken by Sherlock Holmes. John Clay, huh? Clay said, "You caught me. I must compliment you on your thoroughness. You're very smart, Sherlock Holmes." And Clay was utmost cool, very cool, calm, not at all scared, not at all bothered. Even as he was led away, "Hey, take him, take him!" As he was led away, handcuffed. His hand was cuffed and they were taking him away. Then Mr. Merriweather, who was sad before, "Hey sir, thank you, thank you." Holmes accepted Mr. Merriweather's profuse thanks. Okay. And soon we returned to Baker Street. Now we were sitting. Then Sherlock Holmes told me, "You see, Watson," he explained as we sat together in the early hours of the morning, next day in the morning, "it was perfectly clear that the only purpose of this remarkable advertisement of the League was to get this somewhat unintelligent idiot, not at all intelligent. Who? Mr. Wilson, yeah, unintelligent pawnbroker out of the way. So how to get him out of the way? Give him a job. For a few hours, 10 to 2, every day. When he mentioned that his assistant was willing to work for half the wages, I suspected. My suspicions about him were aroused. I knew something is fishy. We say na, dal mein kuch kala hai. So I felt something wrong. This trick of his vanishing into the cellar. You told me, no? He would go down into the cellar. That was the clue. Then I started inquiring that I had to deal with one of the most daring and cool criminals in London. I came to know about him, Clay. Clay was a cool criminal, relaxed, bindas character, not at all bothered. He'll do it. He's like a McCavity, the mystery cat. Very cool. So then what I did, he was doing something in the cellar which took a long time. What could it be? Then I understood. I could only think of a tunnel. So from the cellar, whose cellar? Mr. Wilson's cellar, underground, below the room. From there, he must have made a tunnel. Tunnel to some other building. When we went there, I tapped. You remember? No, I was tapping on the pavement. I tapped on the pavement with a stick. The cellar was not in front. Then I rang the bell. And the assistant, that person who came, I saw. The baggy, he was wearing baggy trousers and worn knees. His knees were worn, old, dirty, torn sort of his trousers. When I saw, I understood. His trousers spoke. He didn't speak trousers, pants don't speak, but I could understand. It spoke of hours of burrowing. That means he must have been burrowing, making a hole, like a rabbit making a hole. So his trousers, pants got dirty. It only remained to find out what they were burrowing for. What he was making a hole for, and just for fun. No, something wrong. We walked round and I saw the bank. Wow, bank? Sure. Lovely. And there lay behind the shop, just behind the shop is the bank. That was all. I understood. My case was clear. I needed to know. I knew it. Then I called. Hello? I called on Scotland Yard. Hello? Yes, Inspector, sir. And the chairman of the bank. I also called the chairman of the bank. Who's the chairman? Mr. Merriweather. With the result you saw. What happened yesterday, last night. Then I asked, who am I? Mr. Watson, Dr. Watson. I asked him, but how did you know? How did you know that they would make their attempt tonight? How would you know that they'll come tonight? See, Mr. Watson, Dr. Watson, yesterday only this person came. That was on Saturday. Who came? Mr. Wilson, to our office. When they closed the league office, that was on Saturday. It was a sign. It was a sign that they had completed their mission. What was the mission? They had completed making the tunnel. And so they no longer needed to have Wilson out of the way. Now, job over. He can go back to his office. So the best is Red League dissolved. So his job is also gone. Okay. Then after that, but it is also necessary to use it soon. They have to do it fast. So Saturday, Sunday, today, like Monday, they have to do soon, fast, or the gold might be removed. Because that's a bank. From the bank it might be removed also. So they will have to do the work very fast. So I knew this robbery was going to take place very soon. For all these reasons, I expected them to come tonight. And they came. It worked. Wow. I could only admire the beautiful reasoning of my friend, Sherlock Holmes. But Holmes, as usual, he shrugged off my compliments. It's okay, it's fine, it's okay, it's fine. He said, it saves me from boredom. I don't get bored. It's like it keeps me activated. I get into doing something. Like look at me, I cannot remain idle because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So I get activated. He was feeling sleepy. That's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. And we'll be waiting for the next part. That is The Dying Detective. That's another solid story. Wait until then. Enjoy the adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. Thank you. Have a nice day.